Good to meet you guys.
What's up?
So basically when I sit here, if I'm making weird facial expressions and not talking, it's because I don't want to interfere with any of, the answer you guys are giving.
Okay.
So that we get the good sound bites.
So
So I'll
just-
just kind of be going.
Yeah. Okay.
And also the questions were written for me by Michael, but they're really good. So.
Okay.
Aaron, anytime you're ready.
All right. Robert, you wrote a screenplay in 1994 that eventually formed the basis for this movie.
Yes.
What do you miss most from that draft that didn't make it into Predators? And what pleases you most about this movie that you hadn't even thought of back in 94 when you were writing it?
When I wrote the original script, it was never for me to direct. So it was one of those things that I wrote, and I was going to turn the project over to somebody else. And I just put in as many ideas as I could, knowing that that they couldn't possibly do them all. It would have been a $200 million movie. Even back then, there was tons of predators, there's tons of alien creatures, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, I think, might have even been in it too, with the Nemesis. It was just, like everything in the kitchen sink thrown in. So, and I didn't have to worry about how it would be made. But when they brought it back to me to make last year, I knew, okay, there's no way we can even make that now, even with technology. So, and Arnold will have to, he can't be in the movie because now he's the governor. So, for things that I missed, actually we put in there just about everything that I thought I really liked, which was the idea of another planet, predator planet, this idea of showing the original predator, but in a way where he's been stripped of his glory. He's hanging from a cross when we first find him.
The characters, all the crazy characters were in place.
Yeah, some of the other alien creatures that are running around to give the movie some scope. But it really needed to be streamlined to do it for what we had and the time that we had. And Nimrod came in and really was able to just laser focus on what really mattered and what really counted, and make a really beautiful film out of that. And there's room to take some of those other elements, and you can make other pictures completely with it. But this one, I think he got just the right section.
And Robert, can you point to one specific, I can't even talk, excuse me.
It's okay.
Can you point to one specific thing that led you to give the directing gig to Nimrod?
Can I point to what?
Like one specific point, I guess just one specific thing that made you want to
Choose him in particular? Okay. Yeah, when I was casting, almost like a casting for actors, looking for a director I'd never produced before, I didn't even know the process. I kind of just made up one where I would just meet some directors, watch their films, first see if you get along with them personally, because you're going to be married to them for a year. So I got along great with Nimrod. He was by far my favorite coming in. He was just a cool guy. You just had a gut feeling about him. I knew, because I know my crew very well, that they would love him. And I saw one of his movies, which was Control, and I saw how resourceful he was, so I respected that. Having done mariachi myself, that was like his mariachi. But after I met him, I went and saw a movie that hadn't come out yet called Armored, and saw that he just had the ability to take these very strong actors like Lawrence Fishburne, Jean Reno, and Matt Dillon, Fred Ward, and make it all work. So I thought, that's what we're going to be doing with this movie. We're going to have a group of people that are going to be really strong actors, so we're going to cast it up, and he will be able to handle that, and handle action, handle suspense, and then the main thing was that he just had a clear vision. He came in with a clear vision of what he would do, so it made my job really easy. It's just like, this is obviously the guy to take it on and carry it on his shoulders.
And I got on my knees and begged.
never hurts, huh? And Nimrod, I know you, like Robert, are a big fan of the original Predator movie. Does that put more pressure on you, or provide a comfort factor like, I know these characters, or both?
Both. I think that there was. I clearly had an intimacy with the characters. It was a character that I grew up loving as a teenager, and had the poster and the toys, and so that was nerve-wracking. Knowing that, also knowing what love the character has, and how the fan base is. Are predators themselves if you mess with their baby. So you got to be really cautious. That was nerve-wracking, and working for a producer who himself is a filmmaker, and not any filmmaker, someone who's had a huge success and has made a lot of films that I own. I have I have Mariachi and Desperado and Sin City, and so it was nerve-wracking. But the process started up, and we had to get the work done, and Robert was. Robert has a wonderful team in place that really just, a lot of warm people, like he said, who are very, very talented. So they made me feel at home with their kindness, and then they made me feel comfortable with their talent. And then Robert was always there. Literally a phone call away. If he wasn't there physically, I could always call him up. Hey man, I'm freaking out. I need to talk to you about something. Come on over, or I'll be there in a second. So it was a very, the process itself, though I put a lot of stress on myself, was easy because there was a great troublemaker was in place, and all these great people were there. So